Cindy, whenever we're ready to start. Was that time?
Okay, you go right ahead.
Okay. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning and welcome to the June 1st, 2015 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair of the County Commission, also representing District 2. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Bueller, representing District 1. Good morning. And Commissioner Bob Archer, representing District 3. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome back after a week off, so we're all here fresh and ready to go. Our first item.
First item is under proclamations, presentations. Presentation on the first quarter crime statistics. Major J. Semeka, Sheriff's Office.
Morning, Commissioners. Jay
Morning.
Semeka, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. Thank you for allowing me to present this morning. I know you have a very healthy agenda ahead of you. I'll try to keep this brief, at least for the first time. Let me orient you to our screen here. What we're going to be looking at are Part 1 and Part 2 crimes. And basically, we're going to go from January of 2015 through April of 2015. It's our intent to present this on a quarterly basis, which if we had done that previously, it would have been just January, February, and March. But I added April because we're just a little bit behind the curve as far as that goes. On the left-hand side, you'll see what we call the Uniform Crime Report. Part 1 crimes are serious crimes. And that includes homicide, rape, robbery, battery, aggravated battery, burglary, and several different types of thefts. And I'm going to scroll down here, and at any time, if I get ahead of things, I will, you guys can just back me up a little bit. Okay. The number on the left side that's highlighted, that is the year to date. That total number there depicts the crimes that have been committed January through April, okay? If you go all the way down to the bottom, the high yellow there, in 2015, there were 260 Part 1, 260 Part 1 crimes have been reported thus far. In 2014, we had 257. So there's a slight increase there. And then in the gray area, the top line is January through April of 2015 in comparison to January through April of 2014. So January, a little bit of an increase. February was down. March, back up. April, back down. Not a huge disparity between the numbers, but it is an ebb and flow. And with crime trends, you see that a lot. One of the things this may be attributed to are seasonal patterns. You have a warmer month, crime tends to go up. You'll see the numbers in white for last year. They do have some slight increases, especially if you go into the summertime and the warmer months. People leave their homes, they leave their doors open, they leave their garage doors open, they leave their vehicles unlocked. A large portion of our thefts is still unlocked vehicles. And we're just really trying to educate the public as much as possible to help us remedy that issue. And I'm going to scroll down here. That's the Part 1 crimes. And as reported to the KBI, they call these Part 2 or less serious. Although you'll see some on here, you'll say, well, how is that less serious? Well, by reporting purposes, it is. Simple battery. The high numbers you see here, battery, vandalism, narcotics violations, those hold true and fast throughout the year, it seems. The numbers we like zeros, we like ones, we like anything that doesn't show an increase or a pattern that's going to heighten our awareness there. Now, we go down, DUIs, things like that there. Let me take you down to the bottom. The good news, 2015, 324 Part 1 crimes reported, or Part 2 crimes, reported to date, as opposed to last year, 423. So, as you compare the Part 2 to Part 1 slightly increased, Part 2 is significantly reduced. We like to think that our partnership with the community, our education, our citizens' involvement, people are really reporting suspicious activity. Anything that they see out of sorts, and really they're taking care of their neighbors, and that's what we need. We need some extra boots on the ground, so to speak, out there, and we're getting that, okay, and it actually shows in our efforts. If you don't have any questions about part one or part two, I'll scroll down for some other items of interest, just some statistics.
Are there questions regarding this part one or part two so far? All right.
Okay, and just some areas of note. Our patrol division, thus far this year, 7,277 calls we've answered. We have have taken 2,306 reports, 196 misdemeanor arrests, and this is just our patrolmen. 56 felony arrests, 1,957 traffic stops, 746 suspicious vehicle checks. A lot of those are called in by citizens. Service requests, 3,268. Written warnings. This is our education piece to the public. Not every time do we have to give somebody a $100 ticket, okay? And they appreciate that. And also, it works both ways. 1,241. Significant number. It's a little more data here. We have taken in this year 1,592 arrest warrants. We have served 1,917. We're ahead of the curve there. It is very difficult to do so, and we've done a really diligent job with our patrolmen, our warrant servers, everybody trying to concerted effort to get that number down. Court security, you may or may not know this. Those numbers are somewhat staggering when you think about it on a monthly basis. How many people enter the courthouse? Somebody could come in more than once, of course, but there's just thousands and thousands of people that do business in this, and the employees as well. Inbound calls, Shawnee County Communications. You notice the numbers there. Each month, well, so far, 139,603 inbound calls for dispatch. Those folks, extremely busy. It's 24/7 operation. So, and 37,000 of those are 911 calls. So. And then calls involving Shawnee County Sheriff's Office, 11,761. So, are there any questions as far as some of those statistics?
Questions regarding the statistics?
Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to exit out of this document, and I'm going to pull up our Shawnee County Sheriff website. And there's Herman Jones right there. He's my boss. And I'm going to scroll down here to the crime map. And what this are you aware of? Have you seen this? Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to be redundant, but Mr. Archer, I will show this. I'm going to go ahead and agree here so we can pull this up. Okay. And what you're looking at, get this minimized, is the last 30 days. And these are some of the crimes that have been reported in the last 30 days. And if you click on the icon, and on the left-hand side is the legend of the different icons of the different crimes. You click on that, it'll give you a little bit of data. The date it was reported, the case number, and anytime you want to check a specific address, you can come right over here and type that in. Okay, one thing that I will show you, if you look, let me get this out of the way here. This area right here of the Northeast, what we call our Northeast Territory, okay? We have 4 different territories for patrol purposes. That's a very dense populated area. Down here, this southeast area here, just east of Lake Shawnee, again, fairly dense population. Down here you have Montera. And over here just north of Sherwood, the Sherwood area southwest. And it seems like those are areas where we see a lot of reports, okay? And it would make sense because those are the most heavily populated. But anyway, this is a good tool. This updates every day, or every morning at 2 a.m., and it covers the last 30 days. Or you can go to past crimes, which I don't know that I want to do, because it's going to populate all the way back from 2000 and, okay. It's not as scary as it looks, but it is. It is what it is. Once again, when you start looking at this, and here, let me do this. Let me run this calendar back. See, that's from 2011. And I can get it a little bit closer. We'll go to 2013. So the last 2.5 years, and that's what we see. Now, remember those areas that I highlighted or talked about previously? You got up here, northeast, southeast, Montera, and over here, southwest, near Sherwood. Densely populated areas, and you see how that crime map populates there, okay? So, do you have any questions as far as the map is concerned? And we can delve into it a little deeper at a different time if you'd like, or.
I think this is great for the public to know kind of what crime is in their neighborhood and what to be on the lookout for, or, if, just kind of overall general information. Commissioner Bueller?
As far as this map, is there a counterpart to this in the city of Topeka then?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Raids Online, I believe, is what that's called. And this is just for Shawnee County.
Right, this is
Crimes.
unincorporated
Correct.
Shawnee County,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
then the cities,
Mhm.
the four
Yeah.
smaller cities, and then the city of Topeka have their police departments. And they
Correct.
keep those crimes separate, or those statistics are
Correct.
separate.
Let's say Rossville and Silver Lake, for
Mhm,
instance.
mhm.
Those two communities have their own police departments.
Uh-huh.
However, our officers patrol those areas as well, and we get called, and we take the reports. So that's why you will see in those areas, you'll see Shawnee County Sheriff's Office
Right.
reports because of those, and Auburn as well.
Sure.
So it's,
Questions or comments?
Finally, I have asked for this for quite some time, that we have statistics on crime in Shawnee County. So I'd like to compliment the Sheriff's Office for this report, and I look forward to seeing it on a quarterly basis. I think it's a good start. And again, I'm glad we're finally getting to the point to let the public know how we're doing with crime in Shawnee County.
agreed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I might note, though, one thing that, just to kind of point out, even though we might be below 2014, the amount of space that you have to cover hasn't changed, has it?
550 square miles. It
So-
hasn't changed.
I mean, and we've seen a little bit of a dip so far this year, but that doesn't, cautiously optimistic and,
Precisely.
okay.
Yes. That could change. The next quarter update, you could see something a little bit different. We're hoping that's not the case, but that's why we should do this quarterly.
Yes, I appreciate it very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Commissioner Bueller?
How long has this map been around, though?
This, that's a good question. Several years, I believe. And if that is, if I'm incorrect, I will let you know.
Well,
I think it has.
the statistics, you've been gathering statistics.
Oh,
You've
yes.
gathered statistics for years.
Mhm.
The sharing of it with the commission is appreciated. And I know you're sharing this information also with Safe Streets, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
On a monthly basis.
Yes.
I think it's also good to point out that it's not just patrol, but it's warrants, it's court security, it's dispatch, it's emergency communications. All of that is encompassed in the sheriff's budget. And so there are other things that you all do besides just patrol, correct?
Yes, Commissioner, for brevity's sake, I did take out some of those units. We have our investigations, our narcotics, the process servers, and I can add those next time, so you can see the full gamut. That way you get a better understanding of all the different facets of the sheriff's office and all the good things that we try to get done.
I think it would be important, because as an arm of the state, the county has to perform those duties. And so,
Yes.
the sheriff's office is just not patrol, it's all other, I think it'd be good to include
Okay.
that.
Make that note.
I might add, it would be good too to have the number of offender registrations. That has been, and as we have seen a huge change in the legislature of who has to be a registered offender, I know that has become an increasing not burden, but duty of the Shawnee County Sheriff's Office in reporting all of those individuals and who is a registered offender and making sure that they're checking in and not violating the law.
Yes,
So
sir.
how much of the job duties allotted to that would be clear.
Next quarter, you'll see those numbers.
All right, Commissioner Archer?
But one final thought is in looking at results reporting, we look at levels, we look at trends, but we also look at comparisons. Who do we compare against? Who are the benchmark counties in providing law enforcement in Kansas and nationwide? So you might want to start thinking about how do we compare with others as far as a benchmark goes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
One more question.
Yes. Commissioner Bueller.
On traffic stops, when officer stops someone in Shawnee County and issues them a ticket,
Uh-huh.
where does that revenue go? Does it go to the county or
Trick
does?
question.
No, but most people say, oh, well, let's write some more tickets and
It's-
get revenue.
no,
I believe that
There is no such
revenue,
thing as a quota. We don't get that money
Right.
back. State.
right, state gets that
Yes.
revenue, correct? Okay,
Very good.
sorry.
I'm gonna
Thank
turn this off.
All right. Yeah. All right. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Is there any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Archer to approve the consent agenda as presented. That was seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business, A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments. We have 27 pages of vouchers totaling $2,646,633.13. Of those, payroll is $792,124.67. JADO, or allocation for JADO, $612,736.15. And our health insurance administration, $264,244.67. So I have no questions, move approval.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Bueller for approval.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Archer. I just might note that while this number is a little bit higher than usual, this does include 2 additional vouchers since we had no meetings last week. But motion made by Commissioner Bueller, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval of the correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item B, Planning Department number 1, consider resolution number 2015-46, authorizing a conditional use permit for an unmanned fire station at the northeast corner of Northwest 62nd Street and Northwest Leedy Road in Menoken Township.
Good morning, Commissioners. Barry Beagles, Shawnee County Planning Department. As indicated, this is a request initiated by the Barretts on behalf of Shawnee County Fire District Number 1 to obtain a conditional use permit to establish a public use facility, or in this case, an unmanned fire station at the northwest corner of 62nd and Leedy Road. This request did appear for public hearing before the Planning Commission on May 11th. One person did appear, mostly to ask questions with regard to the proposal and what it entailed. But then in the end, the Planning Commission concluded by recommending approval on a unanimous vote of 5-0, subject to the conditions which are in the resolution before you. So that's all I have to give you.
Any questions regarding this proposal?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Well, second, but is there anyone here?
Is there anyone who wishes to speak for or against this proposal? All right, seeing nobody.
Second, yes.
There's been a motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. And all in favor say aye. Opposed? The item passes 3-0. Before we leave, Barry, I know that you're still working on your committee for examination of a county code. And are you still taking, if there are people that are interested, can they still contact you?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So before you get off the hook, I'm just let you, so if people wish to contact you regarding whether or not the county should have a code, how
Yeah,
might they go about contacting
Yeah,
you?
just by way of background, again, this is an exploratory committee with regard to the adoption of a building code within the unincorporated area. This has been advanced to the county commission. The county commission has agreed to form the exploratory committee. If anybody is desirous of serving on this committee, we would more than welcome their participation. And the committee will work probably through November, by which time then a final report and recommendation will be forwarded back to the county commission. So yes, let me know, and then I will forward that on to the commission.
And a number they can contact you.
Is 251-5410.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item C, Expo Center. Number 1, consider approval of request for capital expenditures in the total amount of $28,238.53 as follows. A, temporary repairs in parking lots in the amount of $3,002.80. B, leak repair on McQuay Chiller in the amount of $9,619.71. C, replacement of one condenser fan motor on McQuay Chiller number 2 in the amount of $1,211.24. D, roof repairs for Landon Arena in the amount of $3,133.02. E, repair failed water line to RV washout station in the amount of $1,292.81. F, urgent repair of drain line in Landon Arena in the amount of $1,079.83. G, hydrojetting wash bay drain lines in Stall Barn and Dahmer Arena in the amount of $3,018.02. H, purchase PVC product to replace approximately 300 feet of old iron drain pipe in an amount of $732.10. I, purchase 3 sign cans for Dahmer Arena in the amount of $1,914. And J, immediate repairs to insulation in Dahmer Arena in the amount of $3,235.
Good morning, Commissioners. H.R. Cook, General Manager, Kansas Expo Center. The items you see are numerous, but not of large amounts. I'll be more than happy to answer any individual questions you may have, since we have such a large list this month.
I might note all of the items did appear before the Expo Advisory Board last week. They were approved after discussion with the Expo Advisory Board. Are there other discussions or questions that this commission might have regarding these items?
I don't have any. Move approval.
I'll second. There's been a motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval of the capital expenditures, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? It passes 3-0. Thank you, HR.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item D, corrections. Number 1, consider out-of-state travel for 2 corrections specialists to attend the National Law Enforcement Training Center's annual training seminar at an estimated cost of $2,270 to be paid with departmental budget funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Director, Department of Corrections, Shawnee County. Before you today is a request to attend for 2 of our employees to go to Kansas City, Missouri for training. It is for self-defense. We are certified staff when it comes to our defense, self-defense training. I do believe in the rules and regulations or a former home resolution that you don't necessarily need to come in front of the board when it goes to Kansas City, Missouri. But I thought it was important because this training is over $1,000 each, and I met with Betty Greiner also regarding that there's a form that needs to be signed that has been signed by our staff regarding the rule for over a certain amount of money to be reimbursed should they leave. But so I thought it was appropriate that this come before you. There will be out-of-state travel reports that will be given and put on the agenda for your review, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. We do have this money, and we did plan for it in our budget.
Questions regarding this out-of-state travel?
I just wanted to mention, the way I understand it, this is a train-the-trainer
Yes,
opportunity that
Yes. these they will become certified and then come back and train our
and
staff.
train our staff.
Yes.
So, yeah, that was all I had, and I'll make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the out-of-state travel, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of Contract C-204-2015, Third Amendment to Contract C-470-2012 with Securus Technologies for inmate video visitation services, removing language that prohibits in-person visits.
Brian Cole again, Department of Corrections. This is just an update to the language. The previous contract we discovered had a language in there that prohibited for any type of face-to-face visits, and that is something we do not want. We want to be able to have public to be able to come up if there needs to be face-to-face visits. This was something that the courts, or there was a court case that had mentioned, and there were some court orders regarding security to take these out of all of their contracts. So it doesn't change anything other than this is being removed from the contract. This was given to the county counselor's office for legality and form, and it doesn't really change anything of how we're doing anything other than they took this language out because they needed to.
Move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval of the amendment to the contract, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed? It passes 3-0. Next item.
Item D3, consider authorization and execution of contract C205-2015 with PCI Mechanical Services for maintenance of HVAC equipment at the adult and juvenile detention centers at a cost of $4,289 for the period of May 2015 through April 2016.
Good morning, Commissioners. Again, Brian Cole. This is just a renewal of a contract that we've had with our HVAC system for maintenance and inspections. We do have, I believe that there was an increase, a slight one. We do have the contract was approved through the county counselor's office. We have the money in our budget that we did budget for with the expected increases, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'll move approval of the HVAC equipment agreement.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item D4, consider authorization and execution of contract C206-2015 with Stericycle for biomedical waste services provided to the adult and juvenile detention centers at an increased cost of 5% from the current contract.
This is just another, I guess this is Corrections Day, a request for waste removal policies, procedures in our systems that we have with this company. We have gone out for bids before. This company has been very good, responsible, and there was a 5% increase that we did expect for and plan for in our budget, and I'll be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item D5, consider authorization and execution of contract C207-2015, amendment number 1 to contract C124-2015 with KBS Constructors, Inc., KBS, for design build services of a new kitchen at a maximum guaranteed price of $3,515,364 and a final completion date of May 26, 2016.
Last one I promised today. This is finally a good note for us that the kitchen is ready to go. That we have been meeting our team. Has been involved, the facilities director here with Shawnee County, Mr. Kroll, and Administrative Services, and our team with KBS that we have been working very hard with, that we've finally come down to the maximum guaranteed price of a little over $3.5 million. We were, through the COPs, given approximately $3.6 million, so we did come in under budget. Unless we see any change orders, we believe this is very responsible, very good. They expect to start everything June 10th, but we do have an official groundbreaking June 8th at 1 o'clock, which would follow a commission meeting that afternoon. And so we will have that in the back. It will be off of 9th Street where they'll come in, and it is open. So I ask you all and invite you to be there.
Long overdue.
Yes.
Glad that we're able to move forward on it. Move for approval of the amendment number 1 to agreement for design build of the new kitchen.
I will second and agree with you, Mr. Chair. Long overdue.
Commissioner Bueller, any comment? Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next
Thank you.
item.
Item E, Health Agency number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C208-2015 with Rasmussen School of Health Sciences for on-site field and clinical training for Rasmussen students.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Health Agency. As was noted, this is an agreement with Rasmussen College so that we can serve essentially as a training site for students who are going through their programs. The focus would be on the clinical medical assistant program and their nursing programs. We do this with Washburn University, Baker, a variety of schools. And so we ask for your approval to participate in this site agreement as well.
Any questions regarding this agreement?
I'll move approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Bueller,
Second.
second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item E2, consider approval of request to utilize a temporary staffing agency to fill an RN position at a cost of $45.75 per hour.
Good morning, Commissioners. The request that's before you is to fill a vacancy in a temporary manner. We have had 2 positions posted for a number of months and have not received any qualified applications. And so in an effort to try to fill that position while meeting your desire to try to limit the hiring of full-time staff, we'd like to use a staffing agency. We are coming into a critical time with the holiday vacations and those types of things coming on through the summer. And so this is an alternative that we would like to be able to explore in filling one of those nursing positions.
I'll move approval of this. Thank you for updating us, and I know that this is a position that, with the safety net, it puts us in a position to where, are we hiring on, are we not hiring on? And I appreciate the work that you've put into this, but I'll move for approval. Commissioner Archer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will note that this is an annualized salary of $95,160. Is that the best we could do?
This actually, the fee for the hourly rate, that's the temporary agency fee. That is not what the staff person would be paid. So that is the cost to using a staffing agency. And it's my understanding that this is done through a state contract as well.
Okay, okay. The only other question I had was, it's not clear if this is for a 6-week period or a 12-week commitment based on the memorandum that we received.
Well, we would plan to go ahead and request the 12-week commitment from the staffing agency. As it says in the memorandum, they say it's easier to fill a longer-term commitment than it is a shorter-term commitment. So that is what we're proposing, and that's why we've brought it forward here, because it did increase that cost to an amount that required commission approval.
Okay. Well, I think the minutes, or the record should
Sure.
reflect that this is going to be for 12 weeks, because
Yep.
it's not that clear in the memorandum.
You bet.
Commissioner Bueller, do you have?
No, I have no questions. I'll second.
There's been a motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
And that, just to reflect the minutes, it will reflect this 12 weeks,
Okay,
correct?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Item E3, consider authorization and execution of contract C209-2015 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for tuberculosis testing at a cost of $47 per specimen.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ed Kalis with the Health Agency. This contract allows us to work with KDHE to provide this quantiferon test at a lower cost, and also allows us to do these quantiferon tests for TB contacts at no cost, depending on the permission given by the state. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions regarding this request?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer for approval, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item E4, consider authorization and execution of contract C210-2015 with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment to provide $2,000 to help control tuberculosis in Shawnee County for the contract period of July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2016.
Commissioners, this allows us to replace some of our tax money that we would need to run the program with money through KDHE, and this amount varies from year to year depending on how many cases we've had on a rolling year, 5-year basis, and this year's lower than most. We have been lucky not to have tuberculosis in our community in the last number of years, and that's why the number's going down. It seems a little counterintuitive, but that's just the way it is.
Questions regarding this?
Move approval.
I do. If I may.
Yes.
How many active cases of tuberculosis do we have in Shawnee County that we're managing and working with?
Right now,
Yes.
we just got a new one last week, but that's the first one we've had in a number of years.
Okay. So how many are we managing?
Right now,
Total?
total one
One.
active case. Now, we have latent infection where we have dozens of those, where we have to monitor their medicines and visit them at their homes or do the testing to make sure that they're not, they've been treated like they're supposed to be treated.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I want to follow up. This contract with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, is it only apply to the one person that we have, or does it cover the other ones that you're continuing to monitor?
It can cover the contacts of that active case, and also if we have folks that cannot pay, it's used to cover their costs also.
Okay. Commissioner Bueller.
Can you explain though, one may mean what? The contacts then with that one person that has been
We've had
diagnosed?
as many as 90 contacts from one case before.
Right, and
so
you have to follow up then?
we have to
with
follow
all
up with those, and
contacts.
then the people that,
Okay.
depending on the incubation periods, with the people that those contacts have contacted. And so there, it potentially can be a number, lots of people. And the resources, we figured if we had 6 active cases in our county, we would not have enough people to do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Commissioner Archer.
if I may, this points out, the more information the public has about this issue and every other issue that we work on, I think the better off our citizens are served. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
There's been a motion made by Commissioner Bueller to approve the contract with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. I'll second the contract or motion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item F, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider approval of request to solicit bids for improvements to Lawrence Bay Park, including installation of sidewalks and parks-related equipment using the Parkland Acquisition and Development Fee Fund of $81,395.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. Respectfully, you just were speaking about memos and clarification information to the public that could be more in-depth. This memo is wrong, and I'm asking you guys to pull this item so I can clarify some of the language in there. The difference between a city council district and a park improvement district, but also in that same time, instead of just coming back with a typo, I would like to come back in front of the commission and have an explanation of that entire fund, how those monies are developed and acquired, and what we foresee for some of that, and then get some commission input as to what those projects are.
I appreciate that. I'll make a motion that we pull the item at this
Second.
time for it to be resubmitted. Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much, John. Next item.
Item F2, consider authorization and execution of contract C211-2015 with Washburn University for Kansas Career Work Study Program to provide students with job opportunities at Shawnee County with reimbursement from Washburn of 50% of the salary paid to the students.
Commissioners, last year, in a couple of cases, we tried this pilot program working with Washburn University to employ some of their students and getting reimbursed for about 50% of those costs. It was it was very successful, and we want to expand that program and do that again this summer. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
I'll wholeheartedly make the motion to approve this. This is a program that I was able to participate while at Washburn. It's great for the employer, it's great for the student, gets them hands-on experience, and potentially might lead to a new employee. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item F2, consider authorization and execution of contract C212 with -2015 with Helping Hands Humane Society, Inc. for operation of the Paws in the Park event at Gage Park with an expense to the county of $279 and revenue to the Parks and Rec Foundation of $600.
Commissioners, this is a special use contract for the use of Gage Park by the Helping Hands Humane Society for their annual Paws in the Park event. Be happy to answer any other questions, and if you have any detailed questions, John Bell is here as well. Be happy to answer those questions.
Any questions regarding this item?
Motion to approve the contract.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the contract, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item F4, update on upcoming Parks and Recreation events in June.
Commissioners, over the past year and a half or so, Randy Luby has been here and presented monthly updates on the different special event programs that are going on throughout the county. All but one time has Randy done that. One time I filled in for him when he was sick. He's sick again this morning. Commissioner Archer made several jokes about how much better Randy Luby was than me, so I won't substitute for Randy today. Sean Osborne is here to present that report.
Good morning, Commissioners. Shawn Osborne, Parks and Recreation. Before I get started with that, I was going to give you guys some stuff that we have that might go on in this one. Is actually the first thing that we got coming up in June is the free concert in the park in June at Gage Park at the amphitheater. We have a list of those. Topeka Jazz Workshop on June 7th. Santa Fe Band June 14th, Topeka Blues Society June 17th, Marshall Civic Band June 21st, Topeka Jazz Workshop on June 28th, Garfield Park Gazebo at 7:30. We have the North Topeka Band on June 1st, the 35th Division Band on June 15th, and North Topeka Band on June 29th. And these are free concerts that we have at Gage Park and Garfield. We do have a new event that's coming out. The Capital City Food Truck Festival that takes place on June 12th, Friday evening from 6 to 10 p.m., and on June 13th at Gage Park from 11 to 9 p.m. And this is a collaboration between Visit Topeka, Parks and Recreation, our foundation, and Country Legends 106.9. The next event takes place at Hillcrest Community Center, which is the Juneteenth celebration, June 13th and 14th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Hillcrest Community Center. It's a community celebration recognizing National Juneteenth Day, games, music, entertainment, card show, food, youth activities, and much more. It's free to the community. The event was supported by local businesses and community groups. We also have at Lake Shawnee, this is the 35th year of the annual Topeka 10-Man Triathlon. This is by far probably one of the most, or not most, but longest running triathlons in the Midwest. And that'll take place on June 20th, Saturday at Lake Shawnee. We have Wheatstock on June 11th? June 20th. June 20th from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Old Prairie Town. Wheatstock concert featuring Bluegrass Band. Bring your lawn chairs and enjoy a beautiful Old Prairie Town setting while listening to some great music. Food vendors will be selling food. Enter at First Street and Clay. This is a great family and children event, and it's free, but donations are welcome. We also have the National Go Skateboarding Day celebration, June 21st, and that's from noon to 4 at Oakland Billard Park, the Mousetrap Skate Park. And this is actually something that's been put together. It's an event where they can all get together, and there'll be some prizes and things handed out for the skateboarders within our area. And then Deb Flint Memorial Walk, June 27th at Lake Shawnee and this, I was informed a couple weeks ago, this will be the last time they do the Deb Flint Memorial Walk. And it'll take place, like I said, June 27th, and it'll be over there in the Ted Inslee Gardens. And some of that proceeds goes back to Shawnee Heights for a scholarship, and it also goes back into our endowment fund.
Now, if I heard right, I heard that John Knight was planning on getting out his skateboard for the National Go Skateboarding Day celebration, so I look forward to that. Other questions or comments for Sean regarding the upcoming events? Thank you for all that you guys do. I know that you're very busy with everything, and I see John Bell at the back of the room, and Terry Bertles and John Knight. I know you and your staff are always very busy during the summer to make sure there's plenty of programming for everybody to do, from low cost to free. So there's always plenty to do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item G, Counselor, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-213-2015 settlement and release on case number 12 CV 2752, Laura V. Lopez Aquara et al. Versus Shawnee County Board of Commissioners et al.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rich Eckert, County Counselor. This is a settlement of probably the most hotly contested litigation that I've ever been part of. We had a citizen come to our jail and then leave our jail, and after they left our jail, they died. The reasons for that death have still been contested, or still, we have a disagreement about how it happened. It's probably the easiest way to say it. But the damages here are great, and sometimes when you have great damages, it's easier to settle than it is to continue litigation onward. The trial has, of course, not happened yet, but the discovery closed. At the end of discovery, everybody knew kind of where they were at, and it was just a matter of hammering this out, and that's what happened here. This is a very unfortunate matter, and we feel very sorry for the Aguiar family, but here we are today. So we do recommend that we settle this case in this amount.
I might note that there's been a previous settlement agreement with both the transport company as well as Vallejo, and there is a pending settlement with Verizon.
That one actually did settle a couple weeks ago.
And so this is the final piece of the litigation.
This is the final piece.
Okay. And as a result, we've had a number of changes to staff, how we staff cases at the Department of Corrections and our policies at the Department of Corrections.
Yeah, this is really a mental health case. This isn't a typical inmate that came into our jail, but what's increasingly becoming typical are people with mental health disorders. So this has caused us to focus on those issues, and Brian Cole has been great about understanding what's going on with with the population that we currently have, and to make those changes to ensure that something like this doesn't happen again.
Are there other questions that commissioners might have regarding this item?
No,
Commissioner Bueller?
I might just say that the crisis intervention team as well, with law enforcement and the training, hopefully prevents something like this happening again.
Commissioner Archer, any comments?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the settlement in the recommended amount.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
Item H, Commission Number 1, reflect the appointment of Stanley E. Euler to the Kansas Expo Center Advisory Board, filling an unexpired term that ends 12/31/16.
Commissioner Bueller, I understand this is your request.
Yes,
for
it is. Jim Hayes, who I hate that he is not going to be serving on the Expo Center Advisory Board, but I understand, and so Stan Euler has agreed to fulfill this unexpired term, and I appreciate his willingness, so.
So we would reflect the appointment of Mr. Euler to the Expo Advisory Board at this
Yes.
time.
And for that unexpired
Yes.
term till.
And for the
end of
unexpired
16.
term as well.
Okay.
That ends on December 31st, 2016. Okay. Our next, we just
Yeah.
reflect the appointment. Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Are there any persons wishing to speak to the commission on the item?
Good morning, Commissioners. Andrew Howell, Shawnee County Election Commissioner. Just wanted to update you briefly on a couple things. One, we have sent our official ballots out for both 501 as well as 437 for the mail ballots. This is what they look like. Those need to be back in the office by June 16th, the noon deadline for return for the public. Again, 437 voters that are active as well as 501 voters that are active should receive those. If you don't, feel free to call our office at 251-5900. We'll help you dig into what's going on. But they should be in the mail. You should be receiving them very soon if you haven't already. Also, the Shawnee County election has opened at the new location at 3420 Southwest Van Buren Street. So just a public announcement again to make sure people know. 3420 Southwest Van Buren is the new location. And for those people who wish to drop those ballots off, that's the new location that those will need to come to. So those are my comments. If you have any other questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those.
Commissioner Howell, it always strikes me every time that we have a board of canvassers, how many voters are disqualified because they didn't get their early ballot in the mail on time, and it came in late to your office. So just as a reminder, if you plan on mailing in your ballot instead of dropping it off in person, give proper time for the mail to get there, earlier rather than later. So, Commissioner Archer?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I was going to bring this up also. I think everybody knows how highly irritated I get with low voter participation in events. So I want to give this to you to take back to the office. One thing I will notice is you have to sign on the outside. You have to put your name and address and sign. And I almost overlooked that, to be honest with you. So I think that's important that people realize that. So anyway, if you would take this back and put it in the pile, I would appreciate it.
We'll do it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that is a good reminder. It is required to sign each ballot. That's really our way of verifying that we know who filled that ballot out. And the law does require that each voter sign that, and then we compare that against the registration record. So it is an important part of the security of the election. So good reminder not to forget to sign those ballot envelopes. Questions?
Question. Thank you. When will we canvass for those votes?
The canvass, let's see, June 22nd, Monday, June 22nd will be the Board of Canvassers meeting at the new location at 9 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kathleen Williams, and I'm here to talk about the not-so-friendly work out at 29th and Indian Hills. I'm a parent that takes a child to camp. I made a lot of phone calls last week. My frustration started on Tuesday, and I decided, I was told by several people, I needed to come to the commission meeting today. There is one way in and one way out of the Susanna Wesley Church to drop off kids that go to camp. I understand from talking, I don't know that there is much communication going on anywhere, or that stuff has been going planned as normal because of all the rain that has happened, but it took me over 50 to 55 minutes to pick up my child on Tuesday evening because of no way to get in and stuff being changed, routes, whatever. I've spoke with Tom Flanagan and asked them to look at opening up an area so that we could come off of 33rd, because he said use 33rd. I can't, it's blocked. Earlier, before school was dismissed, I was able to come down 29th to get to Indian Hills, to the Ball Diamonds where my son had practice. That's okay. My husband dropped my child off on Tuesday morning and said, be prepared. They're moving signs. You can probably come up Indian Hills. I don't know. Well, I couldn't come 33rd. I couldn't come Indian Hills. There was a dump truck I could see from Indian Hills sitting in the middle of 29th, so I knew I couldn't come 29th. So as I'm driving down the road, I have to stop and call the school and say, how do I get there, the camp? They said you and several other parents have called and been frustrated with the same thing. I mean, I don't know. It needs to be looked at to see if something can be done. I've called Aldersgate. I've called Mission Township to say, if there's an accident on that property and my son is injured, how do you get there? They said, well, we're running into the same things because they started draining fire hydrants without talking to us. The water was shut off at the church while there were kids there for the preschool. I mean, I don't know what needs to be done. There's other staff from the school here, the camp. If you have questions, I mean, I can't believe there's one way in coming down Indian Hills from the north, turning on Bingham, turning on Maxfield to get in, and then get back out again to go out the same way with all those kids in that summer camp. I mean, I'm open for questions, but I have been frustrated with everybody that I've contacted. Because when Public Works tells me, come in the other way and it's blocked, no, I can't do that. There's an orange snow fence up, so if you leave Susanna Wesley Church and you try to go out on Asbury to go to Albright to get on 33rd, you can't go that way. I would like to know if Asbury is a private drive to get into Aldersgate, because if it is, I hope that none of my tax-paying dollars are being used for clearing snow or anything if they're not going to allow us access on that. Yes, it feeds into their cul-de-sacs. I'm not driving on their cul-de-sacs if that's private,
But I think there should be some kind of a compromise that we can come to open those areas up, especially when that's all tore apart there and it may not be being finished as timely as what we'd like it to be with the weather.
Commissioner Archer?
I was just going to say, if you would send me an email with your information, your name and address and phone number, I would be more than happy to look into, because that's unacceptable. I don't know what's going on, but this is the first I've heard of it, but I will look into it.
Okay?
Okay?
I would appreciate
Okay, it's
getting a
just
response.
bob.archer@snco.us.
Bueller?
Okay. I might add, I know that there has been a good bit of emails going back and forth between Pastor Campbell, and between Tom Flanagan and Tom Flock. And so Kathleen, I think I did receive your email then as well. And also with the sheriff's office, I think they were here earlier, but not now, as far as patrol and that sort of thing. So I know that there has been some emails back and forth between Tom Flanagan and Flock, but certainly, and they're not here today. They're at Wabunsee County Commission meetings. So I'm sure that they would be willing to sit down with you again, instead of maybe emails, and see if something can be worked out. So I hear your frustration.
Very
And
frustrated.
I like I said, I haven't met you, but I know we've been exchanging emails, so.
Mike?
Do you have anything else?
Recognize.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, Commissioners. I'm Pastor Maria Campbell from Susanna Wesley United Methodist Church. I want to thank Commissioner Bueller. You have been very responsive, and as a result of your responsiveness to my emails, we were able to get in contact with Tom Flanagan, who sent out Jerry King. Several communications later, after he observed the traffic that was going through our parking lot at a rate of at least 45 miles an hour, he was able to put up 2 signs. They're temporary signs. At the point at which they were put up, the traffic through the parking lot had become so consistent people were no longer noticing signs, as he suggested might happen. Our concern is that even when it is a private parking lot, when we have tried to protect our children, because we have not only preschool programs, before and after school programs, and now summer camp and a summer program for preschoolers, people are riding over the grass to avoid any barricades. Last week, as a result of 3 residents at Aldersgate almost being hit the week before, they chose to put up those snow fences. I don't know if anyone knew that other than they informed us that it was happening. I have negotiated with them to allow us access on Sunday morning. No one else has heard that. So that church members can get to church in another way. My concern is that when you close down, whomever closed down Indian Hills south of 29th Street, the logical alternate choice was taken away. And so when people were able to come through Aldersgate, they used the church parking lot as an alternate to 29, and that was working. At this point in time, there is literally, as Kathleen said, just Maxfield that enters into the church parking lot. We are literally an island unto ourselves. When I, as a resident of Sherwood Park, was given many letters when there was going to be road work done on Indian Hills, the church never received one letter letting us know that construction was going to be happening on 29th Street. We learned with the rest of the public when the signs went up on 29th that there was going to be a road closure on the 29th. On January 16th. I would have expected, just as a homeowner, I expected that I would have been informed. I would have expected as the church that we would have been informed that this was happening so that we could have been more properly prepared. We have since invited our congregation and provided them detour maps, which are no longer valid since we can't travel through Aldersgate. I appreciate that you're trying to provide a safe travel on 29th, and I hope that will happen in a timely fashion. I feel that as a result of not proper care in the detours, that our parking lot has been destroyed. And I have written to Commissioner Bueller that I would hope that the county would consider repairing it at the end of the construction. It is not something that we had any ability to keep from happening, but we are going to be paying the price and the responsibility for it. We have contacted the Sheriff's Department. They have attempted to come out several times to try and slow traffic through there, but they cannot park permanently in our parking lot, and we certainly understand that. But we don't know how to keep our church members and our children safe. We appreciate anything you can do. I know that she will send you a letter. I have sent emails to Commissioner Bueller, but any assistance that you can have, it really isn't enough to say that we have a detour that takes people all the way out to Auburn Road. There needs to be something else that needs to be addressed. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. This will be something that we will be looking into. We'll be addressing with the Public Works Department on how we respond to this, and I'm sure that you'll be hearing more from this as we get more information. But thank you for
appreciate that.
being here today.
Pastor,
Commissioner Bueller.
though, you would be the point of contact for the,
That would be great.
for the churches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
great, thank you.
Is there any other administrative communications this morning? Any other persons wanting to speak to the commission? Commissioner Bueller?
A reminder to the whole community, Topeka Gives is tomorrow at Fairlawn, inside Fairlawn Plaza Mall. It's sponsored by the Topeka Community Foundation. I believe over 125 organizations, nonprofit organizations are there, and so be sure to visit 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I will be participating in a conservation district tour in northwest Shawnee County, I believe, sponsored by the Conservation District on Wednesday, so looking forward to that.
Okay. Commissioner Archer?
The only thing I have, Mr. Chair, is there is a JADO meeting Wednesday night. It will be televised, and it will be at 6 o'clock, beginning at 6 o'clock at the City Council chambers. That's it.
I might note, over the weekend, we received word of the passing of Gil Carter. Recently, the Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Baseball Foundation, I might not get all the words, the Hall of Fame, had the opportunity to recognize Gil Carter and all of his contributions to the community, in addition to hitting the longest home run in history. And so it's with a sad heart that we note his passing, and we appreciate that we did have the opportunity with the Hall of Fame to at least note his contributions and have him here for the dedication at that time.
Yep, we, the actual Hall of Fame ceremonies will still go on in July, but they'll go on under much sadder conditions. We went, knowing that he had been ill, Randy Luby and several other people went by and did some filming of him. One thing that I'd like to bring up is one of the last, when we made the announcement for the Hall of Fame, as everybody left, a couple of the staff from Parks and Recreation took him, he was in a wheelchair, up to the Big Diamond, and I asked him about his longest home run, and I asked him if he'd have trouble getting one out of the park today, because we wheeled him up to home plate, and he started to shake his head yes, or no, and then he shook his head yes and got a big smile on his face, and he goes, no, yeah, I would have a hard time. I'm 83 and in a wheelchair now. So, yeah, he was also a pretty vibrant personality as well, as a good baseball player. Thank you, Commissioner.
I think the quote is, anytime you need to draw a map to how far your home run went,
Yeah.
it's significant.
Yeah, I hope we can get his family. His daughter was there the day of the announcement, so our condolences to his family. That's so sad.
Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session today for the issues of consultation with an attorney for the body or agency which we deem privileged in the attorney-client relationship, and for preliminary discussions related to the acquisition of real property, let's say for 30 minutes, and that is motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes 3-0. We are adjourned into executive session for 30 minutes. We are back from executive session. There is no action to be taken. We are adjourned.